Well, hi, good evening. It's Roy Bartholomew from Sulphur City Foundry over in New Zealand. Just bringing you another quick tech video. And today it was supposed to be a video on how to wire a switch, but unfortunately we've just had daylight savings, so all my lateral light has died and my lighting rig isn't set up as yet. So a quick change of plan. What I'm going to do today is give you a quick overview on a board that we're quite keen on down here, but we think is maybe a little underused in the saber community, and that is a momentary to latching converter board. So what these little things do essentially is allow you to use a momentary switch in a stunt setup. As most of you know, a normal stunt setup will have some form of latching switch, which is, even though you can buy illuminated versions, they're not as common and not overly offered by manufacturers. So what we're going to be doing today is just looking at this cool little board which allows you to rig up a stunt saber with a momentary button which you can also illuminate. Good thing about this is if you're planning to upgrade to a sound saber at a later stage, you don't have the additional cost of replacing a momentary switch. And if you're providing you use a chassis, it's actually quite a simple swap out of the board inside there, because you've already got all the wires running the length of your saber. Most of your work can be concentrated on swapping out your momentary to latching board for a soundboard. So these tiny little boards, you can get them from Custom Saber Shop. They're about $5 US. You can also purchase them direct from a company called pololu.com. You save yourself about 50 cents to $1, I think, if you do that, but shipping might be a little bit more. So essentially what these boards do, it's something called a flip-flop circuit. So the circuit's basically going to be stable until you give it a prod, and that prod comes in the form of pressing a momentary switch, and it'll flip-flop between an off state and an on state. So what we actually have here on the board, on the V in side, we have dual V in positives, dual grounds, and you'll use that to hook up to your battery. On the other side of the board, we have a V out and double grounds, and we have two pads there to attach the momentary switch to. Now the reason I like these boards is because you have, normally if you're rigging up a illuminated switch, you're kind of fighting with your wires to put multiple wires on one single pad. Here you can rig up a pair of wires running to your main LED off one positive and one ground pad, and then you can also wire the wires going to your illuminated switch off the other pair of pads. And then you also have a defined pair of pads for your momentary switch. This means that you're not fighting to kind of stick the one side of your momentary switch to a negative pad. So thing about that, great space on these. It's something I really like. They're a really compact little board. I've actually found other bistable boards on eBay. They're literally a couple of US dollars each. Not as easy to wire because they've only got one ground pad just there, but it's another option for you if you're feeling tight. But I would definitely recommend getting the Pololu ones from TCSS or direct. Okay, but like I said, you can shove that into a chassis. Let's say, excuse the dodgy illumination and the sharpness on the video. Our light's pretty low here at the moment. But you can tuck that away nicely in the chassis. And like I said, if you're on a budget, that's a really good alternative to actually running a soundboard until you've accumulated a few more dollars. Resistor calculations on the rest of the circuit is exactly the same. So like I said, everything will be in place by the time it comes around to actually dropping a soundboard in there. And like I said, if you're rigging it into a chassis, you'll have your recharge port and everything all ready to go. The only thing you really need to do is just pay for your board, buy a speaker, and hook everything up, which you can either do yourself or pay a sabersmith to do. Like I said, this is just one of my own little dueling hilts. It's a 7 chambers Emissary V2. I didn't have a board handy to throw in there, so I thought I'd rig it up with a Momentary to Latching converter. So there you go, $5 US, and you've actually got a nice saber with an illuminated Momentary switch, and I find these a little bit easier to activate than a Latching switch. Okay, that's us for today, and next videos coming up will be tech videos on 2 methods that we use to wire switches in our sabers. That will be followed by a video on how to wire an LED and do your resistor calculations, and that will also be followed by another tech video, which is how to wire a recharge port. So in 3 short videos we'll cover the 3 basics that you need to start putting together a saber circuit. So that's me, that's enough from us tonight. Have a great night, make sure you enjoy your sabers. Roy from Sulphur City Foundry. Speak to you soon, bye bye.